I mean, I've been watching from afar,
Yeah.
and just how much of a power she is out there on the court.
Hey there. Today, we're diving into a hot topic: how Stephen Curry and other players feel about Caitlyn Clark and her bullying. Stick around as we explore the reactions of NBA stars and athletes on Caitlyn Clark, her on-court intensity, and how it's shaped conversations around sportsmanship. 1. Setting the stage. Who is Caitlyn Clark? First things first, let's talk about who Caitlyn Clark is. If you haven't heard of her yet, Caitlyn is a rising star in college basketball and one of the most talked about players in the women's NCAA league. Known for her sharp shooting, aggressive gameplay, and relentless energy, Caitlyn's style on the court is bold and fearless. She's been compared to Steph Curry for her shooting range and creativity, often pulling off shots from way beyond the three-point line. But Caitlyn's game is more than just stats and highlights. She's an intense competitor and brings a passionate, sometimes controversial, edge to her play. Fans love her for her fiery spirit, while critics sometimes argue that she crosses the line, especially when it comes to interactions with other players. And that's where this conversation about bullying comes in. Now, some fans call it confidence. Others label it as unsportsmanlike conduct. Whatever side you're on, it's clear that Caitlyn's presence on the court stirs strong opinions from fans, players, and legends of the game. So how do NBA icons like Steph Curry and other sports figures feel about Caitlyn's style and her so-called bullying moments? Let's dive in. 2. The Steph Curry connection, admiration or concern. Steph Curry has been one of the biggest names in the NBA for years, known for his incredible shooting and for revolutionizing the game. Interestingly, people often compare Caitlyn's shooting style to Curry's, and even he's aware of this rising young talent. Curry admires players who push boundaries, which makes his thoughts on Caitlyn's aggressive style all the more intriguing. Steph has openly praised Caitlyn's confidence and shooting skills, seeing her as a player with an incredible future. He even went as far as to mention that Caitlyn's mindset reminds him of his own journey in the NBA, proving critics wrong and showing that belief in oneself is key to success. But what about the controversy over Caitlyn's intensity? Here's where things get interesting. While Curry appreciates her fire, he's also a big advocate for respect and sportsmanship, both on and off the court. He believes that intensity should drive the game, not disrupt it. So, does Curry see Caitlyn's energy as a form of bullying? Not quite. He thinks it's about passion. However, he encourages young players to find a balance to be fierce competitors without losing sight of respect for others. In Curry's eyes, Caitlyn has the right attitude, but she'll need to keep refining her approach as she grows in her career. 3. Draymond Green's take, the intensity debate. Next up, let's talk about Draymond Green, another NBA player known for his intensity and sometimes for pushing limits. If there's anyone who can relate to Caitlyn's boldness, it's Draymond. He's no stranger to criticism for his aggressive style, and he's often been accused of bullying on the court as well. Draymond recently shared his thoughts on Caitlyn, and unsurprisingly, he's a fan of her tenacity. He respects players who aren't afraid to show emotion and bring a competitive spirit. In fact, Draymond believes that sports need more personalities like Caitlyn's to keep the games exciting and authentic. However, he also acknowledges that intense behavior needs a purpose. For Draymond, being aggressive should be about hyping yourself and your team, not tearing others down. So, does Draymond think Caitlyn's actions are bullying? He doesn't quite see it that way. He believes Caitlyn has a winning mindset, but points out that she might face challenges in refining her approach, especially in high-stakes games where emotions run high. In Draymond's view, if Caitlyn can channel her intensity productively, she'll be unstoppable without any risk of crossing into bullying territory. 4. Other players. Weigh in, respecting the game versus playing with passion. Let's expand the discussion to other players across the league who've weighed in on Caitlyn Clark. NBA and WNBA players alike have strong opinions, with some praising her as a refreshing force and others urging her to be mindful of her interactions on the court. Players like Damian Lillard and Sue Bird have praised Caitlyn's skills and her confidence, seeing her as an inspiring example for future athletes. Lillard appreciates her willingness to take risks and believes that the best players have a bit of swagger that sets them apart. However, he also feels that maintaining a respectful edge is key to a long-lasting career. On the other hand, veteran players like Chris Paul have a slightly different perspective. While he admires Caitlyn's determination, Chris has mentioned that athletes need to lift each other up and avoid any behaviors that could be seen as demeaning. In his words, confidence is essential, but respect makes a true champion. This view suggests that while Caitlyn's approach may be effective now, she might need to adjust her game to avoid any perception of bullying as she progresses. 5. The bullying label. Is it fair or an overreaction? So, where does this bullying label really come from when it comes to Caitlyn Clark's on-court behavior? It's a hotly debated topic, with fans and analysts split on what her intensity truly represents. On one hand, some argue that Caitlyn's fiery demeanor is simply a natural part of competitive sports, a way to boost her own confidence and energize her team. To these supporters, her gestures and high-energy reactions are expressions of her passion and desire to win. However, others feel that sometimes her gestures cross a line. For instance, moments when Caitlyn has stared down opponents after a big play or made bold comments have sparked debates about sportsmanship. To some, these actions come across as intimidating or even disrespectful. It raises the question, where's the line between fierce competitiveness and behavior that can be seen as disruptive? Interestingly, many fans point out a potential double standard. Male players are often celebrated for similar conduct gestures, trash talk, or a swagger attitude that's seen as confidence rather than hostility. Caitlyn's critics, however, argue that regardless of gender, all players should be mindful of how their actions impact others. Respect is fundamental to sportsmanship, and this belief holds that every player, whether a veteran or a rising star like Caitlyn, has a responsibility to keep the atmosphere respectful. Ultimately, the debate over Caitlyn's style reflects a broader conversation on what we expect from our athletes and how competitive passion should be channeled. 6. Social media and fan reactions, fueling the fire. Social media has played a huge role in shaping the conversation around Caitlyn Clark and her on-court demeanor. Every game clip, highlight, and reaction gets scrutinized, often intensifying the debate. Fans on both sides share their takes, either defending Caitlyn's energy as confidence or calling her out for what they see as unsportsmanlike behavior. Caitlyn has her loyal supporters who believe that her attitude is what makes her unique. They argue that intense competition is part of the game and that Caitlyn's approach should be celebrated rather than criticized. Others, however, use platforms like Twitter and Instagram to voice concerns, sometimes labeling her as overly aggressive or even a bully. This fan response has affected how Caitlyn is perceived, and the spotlight is both a blessing and a challenge for young athletes like her. Social media brings instant feedback, both positive and negative, making it essential for players to remain grounded and focused on their goals. Caitlyn's response to this attention, whether she adjusts her approach or continues as is, will shape her career as she grows. 7. Lessons from the legends, finding balance in competitive sports. Finally, what lessons can young athletes draw from Caitlyn Clark's journey and the reactions to her style? When we look at legendary players like Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, and Larry Bird, we see that they all brought an intense competitive edge to their game, sometimes even bordering on intimidating their opponents. Yet, each of these iconic players found a way to channel that intensity constructively, transforming it into a relentless drive to improve and perform at the highest level without crossing certain lines. Today's NBA and WNBA players offer a valuable perspective on this. For instance, Steph Curry and Draymond Green both emphasize that confidence is essential for great performances, but so is respect for opponents and maintaining a positive attitude. Curry, in particular, believes that sports are at their best when fierce competition is balanced with mutual respect To him and many other pros, this balance is the hallmark of a true champion. Draymond, known for his own intense style, also advocates for players channeling energy in a way that uplifts their game and their teammates. As Caitlyn's career progresses, she'll likely continue to refine her approach to competition, whether she tones down her intensity or chooses to double down on her fierce style. Her journey highlights an essential truth. Sportsmanship and skill are both vital, and achieving the right mix of these qualities is what separates a great player from a truly legendary one. Caitlyn's story, like those of past legends, reminds us that while intensity drives success, respect and balance are what ultimately earn lasting admiration and respect. And there you have it. That's how Stephen Curry, Draymond Green, and other players feel about Caitlyn Clark and her approach to the game. From admiration to calls for balance, their insights remind us that intensity can be a powerful tool in sports when channeled right. If you enjoyed this breakdown, don't forget to like, share, and follow for more sports insights.